To biology, the scientific study of life. This figure represents anatomy of an earthworm. Notice that giant Australian earthworm as shown this figure. Let's start with mouth. Mouth, subpharyngeal ganglion, pharynx, esophagus, crop, gizzard. Notice also intestine, metapharyngeum and crop, clitorium, and notice also tiny blood vessels are abundant in the earthworm's skin, which functions as its respiratory organ. The blood contains oxygen carrying hemoglobin. Notice also ventral nerve cores with segmental ganglia. The nerve cores penetrate the septa and run the length of the animal, as do the digestive tract and longitudinal blood vessels. Notice also the circulatory system. A network of vessels is closed. The dorsal and ventral vessels are linked by segmented pairs of vessels. The dorsal vessel and 5 pairs of vessels that circle the esophagus of an earthworm are muscular and pump blood through the circulatory system. Notice also cerebral ganglia. The earthworm nerve system features a brain-like pair of cerebral ganglia above and in front of the pharynx. A ring of nerves around the pharynx connects to a subpharyngeal ganglion from which a fused pair of nerve cord runs posteriorly. Notice that. Ines, notice also closer look. Ventral vessel and nerve cords, nephrostomy. Notice also intestine. These are represents chiata. Each segment has 4 pairs of chiata bristles that provide traction for burrowing. Notice also dorsal vessel, longitudinal muscle, epidermis, circular muscle, cuticle. Notice also many of the internal structures are repeated within each segment of the earthworm. Septum, partition between segments. Notice also cilium. The cilium of the earthworm is partitioned by septum. Notice also metapharyngeum. Each segment of the worm contains a pair of excretory tubes called metapharyngeum with ciliated funnels called nephrostomes. The metapharyngeum remove wastes from the blood and coelomic fluid through exterior pores. Notice also each segment is surrounded by longitudinal muscle, which in turn is surrounded by circular muscle. Earthworms coordinate in the contraction of these two sets of muscles to move. These muscles work against the non-compressible coelomic fluid, which acts as a hydrostatic skeleton. Notice also the ventral nerve cords with segmental ganglia. The nerve cords penetrate the septum and run the length of the animal, as do the digestive tract and longitudinal blood vessels.